Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. I am in Switzerland in the city of Bern today, and you can hear those bells ringing. That's one of the things in Switzerland is you always hear bells ringing all the time from the churches, and they ring a lot, like at all times of the day. It's been kind of interesting going through Switzerland. One of the things I'll mention here that's kind of cool is that there are cheese fondue that you can buy in vending machines like all over Switzerland, which is kind of crazy. It's not a touristy thing at all. It's like, that's like in little villages and stuff, so pretty interesting. Anyway, I thought I would do a video that some of you are going to find slightly offensive, but I ask you to bear with me and think about this a little bit clearly, as I'm not trying to insult anyone here, but it's just an observation that I've made as I've been kind of traveling through Europe, and I've traveled through a lot of European countries, a lot of different ones over time. Man, that bell is still ringing. That is just amazing. There must be, I picture some monk just like jumping on a rope and just swinging up and down like to ring the hell out of that bell. That's like his job. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about here is the concept that I've kind of seen as I've been traveling through Europe of rule following and how prevalent it is. And you know, and I pick on rule followers in the U.S. So don't get your panties in a bunch when I talk about rule following in Europe, but definitely it's more prevalent here, right? And this is one of those things where my philosophy in life is that the rules don't apply to me. And this is one of those things, I think someone asked me, like, one of the piece of advice that I'd give my younger self or something, and when I did, I think the YouTube live for the book launch for the Complete Software Developer's Career Guide, and I talked about how I would have told myself that the rules don't apply to you and how valuable that is to know. And so what I think is really interesting about this is just that, like I said, being here in Europe, you see a lot of kind of what I call silly rules, and so many people follow the rules and don't violate the rules. Not that there's not criminals and there's not that people that violate the rules, but we sort of have it programmed in our head. Especially, you know, it's very apparent. Like I was reading up on Switzerland and kind of the culture and stuff. I read a couple of books on Swiss culture. And one of the things that they said was that it very much in the school, right, they don't do any kind of homeschooling, and that their school is very much listen to authority, follow the rules, right? You have to do things the right way. And, you know, just from everything from the trash, like you have to have a little sticker on your bag to go to throw out the trash, otherwise they'll like look up and see, they'll dig through the trash. There's like, you know, people that actually inspect the trash to make sure that you're throwing away the right stuff. And, you know, just all kinds of stuff that and it's not just Switzerland, it's a lot of countries in Europe, you know, at least where I've been. Of course, in the U.S., we've got some pretty ridiculous regulations and rules and whatnot as well. And some of them are self-enforced, right? Just societal norms. And it's kind of interesting, just like I said, my philosophy is that the rules don't apply to me. And I don't mean that like I'm above the rules, or that I don't have to like, or that I don't have any kind of morals or morality, but I don't believe in morality with a capital M. And what I mean by that is I don't believe that just because someone makes a law or a rule that makes it right or wrong to follow that. That, you know, you could be lawless and be upright and moral, but at the same time, that bell is still ringing. This is just crazy. But at the same time, you could be very law-abiding, right, and follow the rules exactly and be immoral or unethical or not a good person, right, however you want to put that. I'll give you an example. I was stuck in a parking garage here in Switzerland because I lost my parking ticket to get out of the garage, and I just, you know, people were coming in. I was asking people, I was like, hey, could you like, could you get another ticket for me or whatever? You know, I lost my ticket, I'm not trying to pull anything here, or could you like use your pass to let me out of the parking garage? And it was it was a Sunday, like there was no one there. You know, I would have gladly paid a fee for a lost ticket fee, but there was no one there, and I didn't speak the language, so I couldn't even, when I called to, like, you know, the emergency number, I couldn't even speak to them. And, you know, people basically just ignored me, right? They were so rule following, right? And I was thinking about how, you know, it's really interesting that, you know, they basically totally ignored me, tried to pretend like they didn't hear what I was saying at all, and I know that they understood what I was asking. It was apparent to me, you know, especially the number of people that I talked to, and it was really interesting just to see how people would be so set on following the rules that they wouldn't help a fellow human being. Whereas I think, you know, my philosophy in life is that, you know, fuck the rules. I'm gonna do what I find to be correct. And I think that's you know, really what it comes down to, is that a lot of times it's real easy to get into this mindset where you have to listen to authority and you have to follow the rules, and that it's right or wrong to follow the rules or not to follow the rules, and you lose track of your own moral compass, your moral compass of what you decide is right, what you decide is best for you in your life is what really needs to guide you. And I've done some videos on guilt, right, which you can check out here, or I think on external validation, you can check out that video as well. And it's all the same concept, right? It's all the same concept. It's the same thing as rule following. It's basically allowing other people's perceptions of what is right and what you should be doing with your life and how you should live and which laws or rules you should follow, that you're letting that control your life instead of what you believe is correct. Now, again, there may be some consequences for not following rules. There may be some consequences for breaking laws or for not following societal norms, and you should weigh those in to your decision-making process, of course, but you shouldn't just let those determine what you do, right? Sometimes it may be worth paying the price or suffering the consequence, and at the same time also those things, those consequences are you know, do play a part in your own philosophy of what you believe is right or the best thing to do, right? I don't just break laws or break rules for the sake of breaking rules, right? Especially when there's consequences. That's just being rebellious. That's actually not living in freedom. That's actually the opposite of that, because that's going to cause you to be actually living under a different kind of control, a kind of control where you are purposely you know, rebelling against authority and rules, and you're non-conforming, which is a way of conforming. So anyway, I think this is just an interesting concept, and like I said, I'm not picking on, you know, Europe or anything like that, but I'm just saying that there's definitely a lot more rule following in general, which you can observe, and even a lot of things that aren't enforced. I remember first getting on the subway in Berlin, and there was like no checking of tickets or anything. Like there's like people just walk on and off, and most of the trains and stuff are here, and they occasionally check it, but you know, it's nothing like in the US. Like there's no way that would fly. People would be taking such advantage of the system, and so, you know, there's a balance, right? There's definitely reasons why there are, you know, rules and regulations and societal norms, but you have to really weigh in your own mind whether it's worth following this thing. If you know, rather than thinking about just because it's a rule or just because it's a law you should follow it or not, or just because society or social norms say that you should, you instead have to really think, is this what I believe is the correct course of action in my life? And it's really hard to separate that out a lot of times, because you get so programmed to following these rules and laws, and you know, wherever you are in the world. All right, that's all I got for you. This is a bit of a ramble there, but it's really a challenge, I have to say, recording video with people all walking by and stuff. So maybe I'll do some more of these European videos, but just find quieter areas or something like that. Some of them are kind of cool to be walking around and whatnot. But all right, that's all I got for you today. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and make sure you click the bell so you don't miss any of the videos that I do, especially as I'm traveling around Europe. I'll be heading to Italy next week, so I will see you.